Transition Awareness Breathing. Feeling grounded for both children and parents is essential for healthy living and learning. Join Eartha Powell on this series for tips and tools for creating a harmonious environment for learning. Transition Awareness Breathing will help you and your child find an individualized path to tackle change, promote lifelong learning, and discover new approaches to calmness.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to Transition Awareness Breathing Podcast. Thank you again for joining me, and today we're going to bring the third part in this episode, the series. I hope that you are enjoying this series, and again, I'm so happy to bring this panel discussion to you about how a school, a charter school, prepares their students for the future in a digital world. And, you know, this school has been ranked nationally with very high marks. And at the same time, you know, reading some of the reviews from parents who maybe had their children there, there were like complaints about there's too much homework, or you know, I don't know what their expectation is. And so some schools are not for everyone, and that's the beauty of the variety of schools that we have here in this country. And so that's the way, you know, the mindfulness way that I would look at the fit of a school for my child. You know, if the school is not meeting your needs, you know, there's millions of different schools, specialty schools. With that being said, even so, whatever school your child is at, I invite you to look at it and ask the questions: how is this school preparing my child in a futuristic environment, in a digital setting? And Eleanor Colet's Hebrew Language Academy is doing it very well. And I am so sure there's lots of schools that's even ranked higher than ECLA. And still, I would ask the same questions. Even if you're homeschooling your child, how are you preparing your child through a homeschooling program to function where they will be contributing to their future communities, along with bringing values and core principles into the next generation? Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you enjoy part 3. So let's get started. Okay, so ECLA has been ranked like an A. These are the champions.
My name is Tracy Smith, and I'm currently the Vice Principal for Kinder through 2nd here at
Okay.
Hi, I'm Catherine Cohen, and I'm the principal of ECLA, and I supervise the cohort of 3rd through 5th grade on a little more regular basis.
Hi, I'm Simran Wanda, and I'm Vice Principal of Middle School, so grades.
I remember something, I was dropping off something, and it was a little kindergarten. I mean, they're so small now, it seems like. And, you know, they came to the desk and they had to get something like ice pack or something. And they looked up and they were just standing there. And one of the receptionists says, can I help you? You have to use your words. You have to advocate for yourself. What do you need? And they were so nervous, but it seemed like there was such a victory when they asked for whatever they needed, So I think that part starts really, whether it's intentional or unintentional, but it starts really, really young, So by the time they get to middle school, and they're working and knowing yourself. I mean, some of us grown-ups are trying to work at that, especially when you're working in a team. I mean, that's why they have the Myers-Briggs, see what kind of person that you are. So I just think that's really outstanding. My mind, the thought that passes through my mind, and the research that I've done, and I don't know if you all have heard anything, how the population is decreasing.
I keep hearing that from my in-laws.
Oh, yeah.
My father-in-law's a doctor, and he kind of keeps up with medical journals and things that are changing in the world, and it weighs on him enough that he shares it on a somewhat regular basis. I'm sorry to interrupt, but
no, I share that concern with him, and I wonder, like the project-based learning and the digital learning, and in nursing, how is that going to reflect in healthcare? Because if the population is decreasing, then that means there's not going to be enough people to participate in healthcare. And I think that's where the spark, or where me and your father-in-law is kind of, feeling that heat. And so I don't know how that's going to, I know how it is in nursing, but I don't know how would that be in the education world. How would you, prepare children? Would they need extra skills? Or you just start off with still the core values of, fine motor skills and reading? I mean, how?
I don't know that we are educating knowing that it weighs on this next coming crop of generation more significantly. And I would never want to put the weight of that on a 5-year-old or a 10-year-old or a 14-year-old. But what I would like to believe is at ECLA, and I want to trust at all schools, but I can speak for our school. I would like to believe at ECLA, all of the things that we do, right? Besides having very high academic expectations, which seems like in a lot of public schools, that standard of excellence, the bar just keeps shifting down a little bit and a little bit. And so, having my own children in really good public high schools, but a lot of, and having friends whose kids are in public schools and different grade levels, a lot of things like not putting the date on the paper or not using a complete sentence, not worried that things are spelling correctly. All of those matter. All of those matter. And I would like to believe that high academic expectation at ECLA, coupled with trying to educate the whole child and trying to send a whole child on to high school, maybe plays a role in at least getting our group of kids prepared to step into those roles of medical field educators, technology world. I don't always get the sense, listening to my kids and their friends and watching social media, that people are growing up with the idea of service. I really get the sense that they're growing up with the idea of self. And I want to make a lot of money. I want to be a TikTok star. I want to do nothing. I just want to wander around and kind of do nothing. And I would like to believe that we are elevating all of the skills in the students at ECLA, that they're growing up with, I want to be a doctor. I want to be, an educator. I want to be something more than just self. And I feel like, reflecting on, the question, that's what we're doing to help the world as the population may be dropping.
That you really are grooming your students as leaders. You're not grooming followers. Because the things that you have shared so far, to me,
it sounds like the qualities of leadership.
I hope we're grooming everyone to be an individual, wherever they choose to be. But I think the key word there is that they have the choice in it. And so maybe that is a leader, because it's someone who gets to decide that they want to take that role. But I think more than anything else, we are really working to help each child, figure out and maximize who they are. So then options are always available.
In transition awareness breathing, in my TAB classes, our classes get kind of loud, but it's about learning and things like that. And especially for the younger ones, I let them know that you are a leader of your behavior. You have control over your behavior. If you choose to scream because someone's sitting in your chair, you can be right here, but you can't scream past level 5. and it makes them stop and think. So and it builds a inner voice, and I hope it's a positive voice that I have control over my behavior, and I have control how I react. And so with that is, if someone is doing something that hurts me or hurts my feelings, that I can speak up for myself. And that kind of goes and blends into like the bullying things, cyberbullying and things like that. Because that can decrease and squash creativity. How do you deal with bullying issues, or is there a bullying issue here?
Well, I mean, my response to that would be bullying is, unfortunately, bullying is a real thing. And there have been times here at ECLA, like at probably all schools, when there is real harm happening to a student who is not participating in it in any sort of way, and that's unfortunate. And unfortunately, bullying is also now a word that is used for any unkindness. And I mean, there's meanness that happens, and that doesn't feel good. But I don't know that everything that isn't kind equates to bullying. But, the general response, regardless of how aware it would fall on a matrix or in the code of conduct, is when there is unkindness, we try and come together and work through, what happened and why it happened. But then for, the student who was the receiver of unkindness, or the victim, if you like that word, I'm not a huge fan of making people victims, is to help them find their voice. And what can you do next time? And how do you say stop? Or how can you respond where ideally it doesn't come back? A lot of times someone is unkind, and then unfortunately someone else's response is to be unkind back. And that doesn't do anything but perpetuate a dynamic of two people who don't really get along, and the way that they interact is negative all the time, but they choose to interact, which is interesting in itself.
Yeah.
But really trying to empower, each person with, if you don't like this person, you have options, right? You are responsible for your own behavior. You can just choose to not engage with them at all. You can name the issue. You can say, you took my pencil, that's my seat,
Be sure and pick up a copy of TAB Mindfulness, Awareness and Coloring Activities in a Pandemic World. It's not just an ordinary coloring book. It features 23 illustrations to stimulate thought, relaxation, and creativity for anyone between the ages of 4 and 94. Increase your positive self-talk energy, unlock new creative paths, transform your time once or twice a week to create beautiful art while strengthening confidence, building positive self-talk, and sensitize self-awareness. TAB Mindfulness, Awareness and Coloring Activities in a Pandemic World. It's available now at Amazon.com.